phone goes up. I ask her the question, and she doesn't just answer it to like placate me. She answers it with a soundbite that she knows that I can run in my show tomorrow. And that to me as a producer and a host is like the best feeling in the world because, you know, if you've ever stood on a red carpet and you're holding a mic and you're interviewing a huge celebrity, in your head, you're trying to ask the questions, you're trying to maintain eye contact, you're trying to be in the moment, but you're also thinking, oh my God, is my executive producer gonna like grill me when I get back and have nothing on this tape? And you're anxious and you're trying to keep that away because your job is to get those moments, right? I remember I have an old EP who always just said that. He's like, make a moment. You got to make a moment. And not every celebrity is as generous as Kim Kardashian. Oftentimes they just want to go away. Like they're done. They don't want to do press. They're contractually committed to doing press. Their publicist made them do it. And you feel it in the interview and you get nothing.
Yeah. I mean, well, I find, because look, I mean, my show gets a lot of press. So I am the executive producer. So I have learned over the many years the same exact thing. So there are certain people that I'll interview and it's like, you feel it here until you get it, 100%. And you know which questions are going to do it, but a lot of them, fail. And I also find a lot of celebrities don't realize how to do it. Like, it's almost like, I don't know. What do you think? It's either one or the other. It's either like, or they're, you're not, Kelly and Ryan, or they're like saving it.
Yes.
There's either that, or they're just clueless. Because I've had a lot of people come on the show and then, the phone rings in 3 weeks and I'm like, honey, I mean, you've been in the business for 20 years. Why did you give this answer? I mean, that's not on me. So sometimes I'm like, are you really happy? It's a whole mind game.
I know.
But,
I mean, I wish people really understood like how
I understand 100%.
You get this. But like to everyone listening, like it is such a hard job to sit across from them. And, we just saw this happen to Ashley Graham at the Oscars, right? She asked Hugh Grant a question. It wasn't the best question, right? Like I'm just gonna say I don't think it was a great question. I listened to the questions leading up to that, and I don't think those were great questions. But I don't think he had to be so rude to her. That's the thing, But it's really, really hard to be live on a red carpet with all of that pressure, and then somebody shows up and just wants to make your job harder. That's what I always say. It's like, you can make my job so much easier. And in turn, I can make your 3 minutes with me so much easier. So let's be in service to each other and get this done. We all know it is a transactional relationship. Nothing irritates me more than red carpet reporters or entertainment journalists that somehow have decided that they are the star. Right? They think that they're their friend, they're their equals. That's not really how it works. It is a transactional relationship. You cover me well, I'm nice to you. You cover me neutral, I can still be nice to you. But at the end of the day, they're there doing a job. And it just irks me when I see that happening. I'm like, they're not your friend.
Totally. I agree 1 billion %. Like there's a lot of people like you and I were talking about the Hamptons before, like we'll meet up. There's a lot of people where it's an organic, real connection. But yeah, for the most part. Yeah, no, I agree. And it's like, it's not, because I also do a gossip show on this podcast and then it's all about me and it's my opinion. But when you do an interview, it's not, and people are always like, God, you shut up and you let the other person, like, that's my job. Like it's not about me. I would love to just sit here and have the person talk. Like,
totally.
That's the goal. So, but it's so annoying when you're like, God, it's not about you. It's too much. Like, every now and then just show I'm human. You like give a little something, but that is not the job. Yeah, no, I agree 100%.
And I'm not saying act transactional. We are all there acting, right? Like we're besties.
Totally.
Like me and Lizzo, we're like this. In those 3 minutes.
Right.
But I guarantee if I saw Lizzo later that night out in New York, she wouldn't know who I was. And she certainly isn't giving me a hug or high-fiving me or saying, hey. Totally. Maybe she would. I don't actually know Lizzo. I'm using that as an example.
No, I totally get it.
But another woman I feel like gets the job done on a red carpet. Like she knows. But the actual interview is a transaction.
100%.
I call it celebrity by association.
It's true. And it's like, it's just, no, it's so, God, I could talk like for 3 hours. You're going to have to come back. No, because it's true. It's like, if you interview, I'll just use J-Lo as like an example. Yeah. Like if I interviewed a J-Lo, it would, listen, I'm in charge, I'm driving, you're answering, it's a transaction. And then 2 days later, I will be screaming in the front row at your show, and I will, be paying the money for the meet and greet, and I'll stand in line and I'll get my picture with you because you're J-Lo, and I don't expect the backstage pass when I'm, who the hell am I? I'm not like Pitbull or like Mark, so we're not best friends now. I'm going to have to buy the meet and greet, stand in line like everyone else, and I will be a complete fan telling you how much I love you. I won't even reference the fact that I just interviewed you 3 days earlier. But when you're on my show, sit back, girl, because I'm driving the bus. It's a whole it's a transaction. You just are in a different phase. I totally agree.
And listen,
same thing, if you see someone out 3 days later, I'm like, I don't even want to remind you that you're on this podcast. And they had a great time and it's all good, but it's just like,
you kikied. You're like, hey.
It was like a business thing, and
it's a bit. This is a business.
Yeah.
I know on the outside for a lot of people it doesn't look like that, but you and I run businesses, right? This is our industry. And it just so happens that our industry is also filled with like a lot of false pretenses. It's a lot of acting, and that's okay. We signed up for it. We know what we're stepping into,
Yeah.
And there are people that are exceptions. Like you named Kelly Ripa, Ryan Seacrest, Gayle King, Oprah Winfrey.
Right.
They are They are celebrities. They are not like, if J-Lo sees Oprah, she's not like, I don't know her.
Oprah gets to go backstage at the J-Lo show. There's very few things I know for a fact. If Oprah wants to go backstage, or she'll probably be invited. Yes, that's happening.
Yes. So there is a level of entertainment journalists, reporters, that obviously ascend to that. I am not one of them. And so what I'm saying is my interviews are transactional.
No, I get it. I totally, and knowing people that do what we do, we don't need to mention any names, but yes, people want they have their own aspirations of fame, and like, that's okay, but that doesn't happen without the actual work. Like, you have to do the work.
Yes.
But yes, it's mostly like, then you think you're going to be this person's best friend. And that's because to me, it's like when I interview, it's mostly because I interview a lot of housewives and stuff. Like I had a situation like, because here we are in Hollywood. Like I ran into Sutton, from Beverly Hills a few weeks ago. And I was like, she's like, oh, I don't understand. Like, I know who you are. Like, why are you introducing yourself to me? I just assume, I just assume, like, she's been on here like 3 or 4, but it's not, you don't know me. Like, we haven't had like 5 dinners together. She's like, I know exactly who you are. So it's like, okay, it's still a moment, but that doesn't mean we're going to be,
Yeah, and I always introduce myself.
Yeah,
I could have interviewed you 10 times,
Same
and I'm
here.
still going to tell you, hi, I'm Lilliana Vazquez from the Today Show, from Access, from E! News, and they're like, I know.
Right. And then
I
you're
love
like,
you, or
I guess,
I guess so, but I'm never going to make that assumption. I'm always going to come to you fresh and be like, hi, I'm Lilliana. It's so wonderful to see you again.
Same thing.
That's what I'm going to say.
Have you ever interviewed someone the opposite where like you just were so, but that's interesting what you said about Kim, because that's amazing. I don't know if everyone really gets it, but
Hugh Jackman is like that.
Really? He understands the soundbite?
Oh, totally. But he's also just like so warm and fun and gracious. And I don't know that he would ever give a bad, even on his worst day, I actually don't know that he would ever give a bad interview. I think he's just such a warm, genuine human being, like who's just joyful from the inside out. I think that's just what comes across in his interviews. Like the whole thing was so fun. Like I forgot that I was doing an interview, and not that many people at his level or have made me feel that way.
And the other thing is that I found some people will give you the soundbite that you need, but to me, sometimes it's so obvious, and now it seems weird. But Kim is so good at what she does, because I've never seen an interview with her where I'm like, oh, that you can hear the soundbite, but